And we'll do it live. We'll do it live. The title of today's video is, what is the title of today's video? Something about right-wing insurance sodomites and CEOs, something like that. I don't know exactly what it is. But so anyway, all I've heard about on the news today is how starting yesterday, it started on Twitter. It started with Jack Posobiec. That was the first place I heard it. It started with Jack Posobiec saying, these left-wingers, Jack Posobiec, the CIA guy, these left-wingers are all promoting this Luigi character. Oh, it's so left-wing to be against insurance companies. And then the next person that said the exact same thing with almost word for word the exact same words was somebody else connected to some random so-called right-wing news site. It was literally almost word for word. Then I'm listening to the radio as I'm coming home from work and going to work. So going to work and coming home from work, it's the exact same message, which is, these left-wingers are all promoting this Luigi guy, like literally over and over again on every single channel. It was the same message. And then I come home, I flip on some Twitter, right? We've got Nick Fuentes, Jesuit operative Nick Fuentes, saying the exact same thing as all these other CIA channels. Do I think Nick Fuentes gets calls from the Jesuit CIA? No, I don't. I just think it's funny how he just seems to agree with them, though. Now, the thing about me is, it's interesting because a lot of people in the comment section for Jack Posobiec was like, dude, this isn't left versus right. It's kind of like bipartisan. A lot of people don't like insurance companies. It's just a lot of people don't like insurance companies. A lot of people are sick of being taken advantage of. And so it's not that he's a folk hero. It's not that Luigi is a folk hero of the left. He's a folk hero of Americans. But you have so what I've noticed, just as an observer of propaganda, is that all of a sudden, starting yesterday, with where I saw it first with Jack Posobiec, all of a sudden, the so-called right-wing media, the Republican media, which is, they call it right-wing, all started saying the same thing. And now it's on every Republican radio channel. And probably some of the center-right, every center-right radio channel is saying the exact same thing right now. Which is the Luigi guy's bad. And how bad it is that he's become a folk hero among Americans. Maybe you should ask yourself why he's a folk hero among Americans. Now, what I'm saying personally is, I think it's interesting that the CEO of this insurance company is a big promoter of LGBT causes. So, babies being born into homosexual slave families, where you have homosexuals buying babies. It's a form of slavery. That's one of the causes of the United Healthcare. It's all over their website. They're like big promoters of pride parades, Pride Month, homosexuals buying babies. Like, this is like a big thing. This is like a major part of their agenda. Just like all the insurance companies do this, right? So why would this be a right-wing cause? How is it a right-wing cause to protect insurance companies that promote homosexual baby trafficking? That's just my question. I don't understand. Why is that right-wing? It's not. So the whole thing is so stupid. So I'm just here to tell everybody how stupid everything is. That's my job. My job is to point out how stupid the information that you hear over the media channels is. It's so stupid and it's so coordinated. It's stupid and it's coordinated. So right now we're supposed to believe that it's a right wing cause to support a CEO that promoted homosexual baby trafficking on their own United Healthcare website. It's all over the website. It's the exact same agenda as on the ADL.org website. But we're all supposed to support this because it's right wing, because insurance companies are right wing. No, they're not. Insurance companies promote all the exact opposite causes of what does right wing mean? If that like what does right wing even what does that even mean? Oh, I think I figured it out. So according to our paradigm that we're in, I guess right wing means capitalism and left wing means socialism. Is that how it goes? Well, what about white nationalists? Because they're not capitalists. They're anti-capitalist. So where do white nationalists fall? Where do Christian nationalists fall, or where do Christian theocratic nationalists fall? Because I would probably classify as both. An ethno-nationalist and a Christian supremacist. So where would I fall in this category? What am I, right wing or left wing? I don't know because I'm not. They have a fake paradigm set up, and it's Jack Posobiec on one side, and it's some other left wing guy on the other side, and they argue with each other about nothing. Nothing important. It's just all a waste of time. That's my point of this video. They're calling LGBT insurance company CEOs. Now, he's not homosexual. The CEO guy, Brian Thompson, he's got a wife and kids and stuff, right? I'm saying is the insurance company itself is a massive sponsor of homosexual causes. Why, you ask? Why would they do that? Is it because they, whatever? I don't know. The reason they do that is because that's the agenda of the capitalist bankers who want depopulation. It's a depopulation agenda. Transhumanism is a depopulation agenda, right? So part of the transhuman movement is the LGBT movement and the Black Lives Matter movement, because they know that you can't, because having the Black Lives Matter stuff prevents white people in particular from creating cities and advancing social systems. They want to turn, like if you look at what they just did to Syria is a good example. They just backed a bunch of Al Qaeda, ISIS, Islamic terrorists to blow up Syria, right? Why? So that Assad wouldn't be able to rebuild the country and turn it into a civilized place. That's the whole point. They don't want civilization. They want total barbarism. When you understand that the people, what we call capitalism, what they really, really want, as far as the people in charge, I'm not saying that, I guess, I mean, you could potentially, you could have a capital system that didn't do this, but we don't have that. We have one that does this. So we have to just describe it as it is. Karl Marx was part of it. Karl Marx was a capitalist. I know that sounds strange, but Karl Marx was a capitalist because the monarchies were the enemies of capital. So a lot of Jewish people were involved in banking at the time, and they were working with the Vatican. The monarchies wanted more autonomy from the Pope, and so it was the Jewish bankers with the Jesuits who overthrew the monarchies. So the monarchies were not a capitalist system. The bankers who used Marx wanted to overthrow the monarchies and set up a central banking system to replace the monarchy. So I know that sounds kind of complicated, but that's how it is. And so these bankers, what they want is dehumanization. They want barbarism, and that's why they support transhumanism, because it results in depopulation, because they want depopulation. And genocide and war causes depopulation. Dangerous drugs cause depopulation. Abortion causes depopulation. LGBT practices cause depopulation. And then abusing babies causes depopulation, because those babies get screwed up and then they don't have normal lives and then they don't reproduce. Like, it's the ultimate in depopulation is for homosexuals to purchase babies and screw them up, so that, like, literally what the capitalist system wants, the Marxist capitalist system, the anti-monarchy system, the anti-Christian monarchy system wants, is they want a total barbarism ruled by sex perverts that abuse babies and children, and then promote deadly drugs and ugly buildings and ugly art, and cause major wars where people are starved to death, and we just go around exterminating people. Like, everything you see is what they want. That is their agenda. So when you look at John Bolton, or you look at Victoria Noodleman, Newland, whatever her name is. She goes by so many names. They like to change their names a lot. When you look at these people, the Anti-Defamation League, John Greenblatt, people like that, people that support LGBT with babies, John Greenblatt, on the ADL.org website, that's what they promote. I'm not just making that up. It's on their website. Look, imagine hardcore sex perverts with babies. That's on the ADL.org. That's the Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith, which is a Jewish Masonic fraternal order backed by the Rothschilds. It's an international order that controls the FBI and the Department of Justice, and controls the police in every city and the sheriff's department, and worldwide through the B'nai B'rith International, Canada, Australia, Germany, England. They're all run by this group. So the point is, what kind of a social system do they want? They want barbarism. They want genocide. They want dangerous drugs. They want they want to poison your food. They want to poison your entertainment. They want to poison your education. They want you to be sick, and they want you to die. That's the transhumanist agenda. So now Brian Thompson was just the CEO of an insurance company, right? And he pissed somebody off and they shot him. And if it were up to me, I would say there shouldn't be, my personal opinion, which I think is a very dangerous position, but ultimately I think would be better for society, because you can't trust people with law, and you can't trust people to enforce laws and be civil. So what I'm saying is, we've devolved into such a barbaric, sick, despotic type of social system that you might as well just legalize murder, because that's dangerous. Like, you're saying, well, Brian, you could be murdered. I know, anybody could be murdered. That's the thing. Like, the laws may prevent that to some degree because somebody doesn't want. But the thing is, you can murder babies, right? People can murder babies. That's fine, because I'm not saying I would. I'm saying legally through abortion you can kill a baby. And so, because you can legally kill a baby with abortion, why? Because it's part of the transhuman agenda. It's part of the global genocide agenda. So that to the people in charge is a good form of murder. What I'm saying is, if you're going to have murder, then just make all murder legal. Like, I'm listening to what's his name, Mark Levin. He's going on about how horrible this Luigi guy is, right? But Mark Levin just supported a genocide against the people in Gaza because they're his political enemies. So, like, all these same Jewish people, like Mark Levin and Dennis Prager and whoever, they all support violence when it's against their political enemies. But then this Luigi guy kills one guy, and this is intolerable. See what I mean? It's like, look, if we're gonna have murder, then just make it like make it all legal for everybody, right? Just make it a level playing field. This idea that some murder is good and some murder is bad. What I'm saying is, if we're going to have, rather than saying some murder is okay and some murder is not okay, I'm saying just make it all legal. Just make it all legal. That puts me at risk, right? I don't want to be murdered. But so then I have to take into consideration, I'd have to protect my own security. Like I would have to be in charge of my own security because I don't want to be murdered. But little babies don't want to be murdered either. You see a little baby in the womb having their head ripped off. It's like it's trying to fight that thing off. It's like the thing's coming in there to kill it. It's like trying to fight that thing off because it doesn't want to die either. You see what I mean? And the people in Gaza that were just exterminated by Mark Levin and Dennis Prager and Ben Shapiro, they didn't want to die, right? So they didn't want to be killed. But yet we're told that that's good. We're told by the media and all the official channels of the media and the U.S. government that kind of killing is good. So what I'm saying is, if we have to live in a world like this, then the only way that you're ever going to increase the amount of justice, increase the amount of because it's so despotic and barbaric, right? It's and it's like all the evil is enforced by the legal system and the police and the courts. In fact, it's all been turned into. It's all been. You take something like a court system, which is supposed to be there to dispense justice, and it's been converted into something to impose tyranny. So what I'm saying is, if that's the case, then let's just legalize all violence. Just legalize all of it. Just blanket legalization for all violence, all murder, whatever. Just make it all perfectly legal. And then then every man for himself. That would be less despotic, less barbaric than what we have now. You got to understand, it's totally barbaric to use a court system to dispense tyranny. That's more barbaric than having no law. That's what I'm trying to say. It's less barbaric to have just no law and no courts and no police. That would be less barbaric than to use the police and use the courts to impose a tyranny and a barbarism. So, so that's my view of the whole Luigi thing. He took the law into his own hands. Okay. People kill people all the time. That's what I'm saying. People kill little babies, and they were told that that's perfectly legal. We just watched the U.S. government and the Israeli government exterminate a whole millions of people in Gaza, defenseless civilians. Like they just exterminated them. Like we hear about these mythical genocides, but then we see a real one, and we're told by the same people that can't stop talking about mythical genocides, but we see a real one, and these same people tell us, but this is good. See, that's what I'm saying. If it's going to be this barbaric, then let's just do away with police and let's do away with the courts, because that would be less barbaric. That's all I'm saying. It would just be less barbaric to have no law and no courts, and to have every man for himself would be less barbaric at this point, because that's how bad the court system is under this cult. I'm not against police per se. I'm not against courts per se. I'm saying if you're going to use the courts to impose, and they tried to do that to Daniel Penny. Thankfully, the courts did not convict Daniel Penny, but they tried. The prosecutor, who's a Jewish woman, tried to prosecute him for subduing a criminal on a train, because they want the criminals. Now they're going to have the blacks out there rioting, calling for murder and death. And for the people who hate Daniel Penny, like the Jewish prosecutor and that whole network of the Anti-Defamation B'nai B'rith that runs the court system in New York, they just want to kill white people. And they love having the blacks out there rioting and the Antifa rioting. That's what I'm saying. If this, and so the whole thing, it's not a right. Insurance companies that promote LGBT baby trafficking, that's not right wing. So this whole thing with Nick Fuentes and Mark Levin and all these weirdos promoting this, it's just not true. That's the thing. Whether it's good or bad, it's just not true. That's what I'm trying to say.